Welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. I'm your host, Russell Clay. Whew! Is that better? Is that better than the other day? That was my punch out call. Hopefully that was better than the other day. I put a little more effort into this one. I prepped a little before the show. Anyway, I'm Russell Clay, your host. You can find me on Twitter at Russell J Clay. Let's get into this nice 6-game slate on FanDuel. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I mean, I think in terms of pitching, there's one clear option. Obviously, Jose Fernandez, and I did the pitcher pod earlier. You're pretty obvious with what you're doing tonight, especially on FanDuel. So one pitcher slate or one pitcher formats makes it pretty easy. Throw him in your cash games if you do play cash on 6-game slates. And tournaments, I mean, still probably throw him in. So with that considered, if you do throw him in, you have 2,800 left, 2,900 left, somewhere around there. So you got to be a little stingy, but I think it's worth it. Anyway, getting into catcher here, Brian McCann, Buster Posey, obviously the two top options here, both 3,200, so they're the top priced as well. Not killing you on cap. I like both matchups. Expect the Giants to recover here. They're not a bad lineup. That was just obviously Clayton Kershaw just going nuts. So don't worry about that. Go right back to him. He's at a cheap price tonight. So, and I'm not afraid of Kazmir. McCann, same thing. Righty versus lefty against Verlander. Obviously, Verlander's been strong, but you're looking at the lefties, and that Yankees lineup is nice contrarian tournament plays. JT Realmuto, you gotta love this Marlins lineup tonight. Against basically, it's gonna be a tough one. But what are you gonna do? So, he's not even listed here. But anyway, going down here, Chris Iannetta. If he's in the lineup, 2,500, that's a solid option. Yan Gomes against Shoemaker. I think I like that as sort of a punt play. He's really cheap, 2,400. And again, Indians as sort of contrarian tournament lineups today, and even one-offs. Solid options today. So that's kind of what you're looking at catcher. First base, I mentioned this on DK. I think if you are going to fade Jose Fernandez in tournaments, you might want to look at Paul Goldschmidt as a leverage play against him. If Paul Goldschmidt obviously does well, he does well in terms of splits against everyone. So I could see this being a nice low-owned Goldschmidt night. And I mean, if he hits a homer, that's a big advantage for you, especially with sort of the way it's shaking out at first tonight. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Not really targeting Cabrera against Tanaka. That's not something I'm in on. Righty versus righty. Obviously, Cabrera's a stud when he wants to be, but in terms of this year, I'm not really targeting Tanaka, even though he hasn't been great. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Matt Adams, if he's in the lineup against Liriano, gotta love that. It's pretty simple. You throw them in there, you throw your Cardinals in there, you get your stack in there, and you let it fly because Liriano's either walking people or having trouble with control or et cetera, et cetera. It all builds quickly against that Cardinals lineup. So Brandon Moss, same goes for him. Obviously, you don't like them being both the same designation, so you got to make your choice. I'd probably go Moss at 33 over Adams, but depending on what happens here, you'll see when lineups come out. You're looking at sort of, again, the Cleveland, Carlos Santana, not a bad one-off, but in that range, you have to like the Cardinals bats over Santana. So that's probably just stick to sort of super contrarian. Adam Lynn, 2,700 against Kobe Lewis. So you got to like that. If he's in the lineup, which he should be, 2,700, solid for sure. Prince Fielder, no. I'm not really looking at Albert Pujols tonight either. I think Bauer's a solid arm, so you can use Trout, but Pujols just isn't he's just not in one-off play against solid arm type um, option. He's just not that type of play anymore. So I think you look at Trout, you look at Cole Calhoun, lefty versus righty, so you got to like that. But not really looking at Pujols here. Beyond that, I think we're pretty comfortable using the Cardinals bats and cash if you are going to go that direction. Other than that, I'm kind of fading it. And again, Goldschmidt as tournament leverage play. Cano is my favorite second baseman tonight. I love that matchup again. I'm going all in on the Mariners tonight, in cash and tournaments wherever I can fit him in. Matt Carpenter, obviously lefty on lefty. You don't love that, even though it is Liriano. You still like him. You still would be willing to throw him in Cardinal stacks and stuff like that. But in terms of sort of the overall, the matchup isn't perfect for Carpenter as a standalone guy. So I think you can do 2 through 5 if he is batting leadoff again tonight. 2 through 5 in that Cardinals lineup is really strong. So that'd be what I'm looking at. Jason Kipnis, 3,200, super cheap for him. We'll see if Schumacher continues on this amazing trend. I highly doubt it continues for much longer. So, I mean, if he is just a new dominant pitcher, I guess I'm going down with the ship tonight, because I'd be willing to throw some tournament lineups for these Indians bats. And then you see Profar and Odor sitting right there, 3,100, 3K. Both of them are solid plays if they're in the lineup. If they aren't, then you're kind of looking at Hanser Alberto, 2K. He's a deal on both sites if one of them does get scratched. So I think that's one of the true punts you can actually conceive right now. But that's kind of what you're looking at. No Starlin Castro tonight. I don't trust him against Verlander. I'd rather just pivot to Josh Harrison. I like that matchup sort of against Martinez in terms of punt plays. You're not really usually getting perfect matchups down there. So Harrison, nice punt. He's better than what he's priced. Obviously, you don't love the matchup, but I think that's a solid value. Segura, not touching him tonight. Again, the only guy I really trust in that Diamondbacks lineup is Goldschmidt. Hopefully he can get things going if you fade Jose Fernandez, but if he can't, then I'd say that's most likely that lineup isn't going to get much traction tonight. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. I'm not really touching Kinsler tonight against Tanaka as well. So Cano really the pay up option there, and then you're kind of just swerving to whatever mini stack or stack you're doing there. So again, Dietrich in play, but I don't love him. That's kind of what you're looking at there. Go over to third, Martin Prado, one of the stronger bats in the Marlins lineup. I do like that quite a bit. Solid matchup there. So I think we can exploit that. Not quite as priced up here as they are on DraftKings, the Marlins. So I think that's much more conceivable tonight. Nick Castellanos, not really in on that. Love Kyle Seager, 3,300. That's pretty much automatic for me. That's going to be the way I'm going every night, or sorry, every night. I don't know if that's not good advice. Don't listen to that. I mean, you know what? Most nights, you know what? That might be good advice most nights. Not good process, but it might work out most nights. But no, not most nights. In terms of today, though, I think he's a really good matchup. And I love the lefty. I love combining him with Cano and maybe a cheap guy at the top of the lineup. That's a really solid move. And it's not killing you on cap either. Again, 2,900, 2,800 for Jose Fernandez in there. And then you can still plug a Kyle Seager in there and go really strong at third. So I really like that. He kind of takes out most of this range for me. Jose Ramirez, nice punt. Beyond that, I really just think Seager's the play here. It's just such a cheap price for a good matchup, and nobody around him really competes with that. Yeah, there's nothing really. You're not touching Chase Headley. Jung Ho Kang, we love him. We're a fan of him on this show, but I don't think we can go with him tonight. In terms of punts, I mean, Jeffrey Marte, if he's in the lineup, Juan Uribe, if he's in the lineup, but I really just think you should plug Seager in pretty much regardless of the lineup. That's just money for me. Moving over to short, Aledmus Diaz, the highest priced shortstop on the slate. I love it. Well, I don't love it in terms of salary because now he's starting to cost a lot, but I love the respect he's getting. He deserves to be up there. He gets points every night, whether it's being hit by pitches or whatever. He finds a way to do it. So he's pretty much automatic. I like him as a cash play. Corey Seager's a stronger option, obviously more power. I actually like Corey Seager more as a play. So you got to like that as well as a cash play. Those are two really strong options there. So I think you can combine this. The Seager, they're not brothers, but the Seager brothers, throw them in there. Maybe make a Seager Diaz lineup. Third and short, really strong tonight in terms of value plays. So I do like both of those. Gregorio Pettit, I don't necessarily like that. 2,800. It's just not enough of a difference from Seager to me to make that move. Going lower, I don't love Jordy Mercer tonight. Just kind of going through it. It's not great. And then you have just such great values up there. Lindor, great tournament one-off. I don't think he's going to be highly owned because of Seager at 31 or 3,400. Crawford, sort of that interesting contrarian pivot against Kazmir. I do like that. Andrus, if you're doing a Rangers stack, which is obviously contrarian, but he's cheap. I do like that. And then I think that's pretty much it. I think you stick to those top 5 or 6 at short tonight. So that third and short is really where I'd like to pay up for sure. Again, Trout always in play against Bauer. I mean, it's a pretty reasonably tough matchup for most hitters, but Trout, you're not worried about that. So if you have the cap, throw him in. Probably not going to be too highly owned tonight. So definitely check that out. Ian Desmond, you're kind of looking at that Rangers stack. I like that. 3,700, not killing you on price. Yelich is expensive, but not quite as priced up and extreme as DraftKings. So I do like that. Ozuna, I do like that. I think it's very reasonable to fit them in and sort of with a Dietrich or figure something out there. Realmuto. I think that can all work in lineups. Kind of moving down a slight tier, not really though. Stephen Piscotty, gotta like that. Batting 4th and 5th in the Cardinals lineup of late. Gotta like that matchup against Liriano. So definitely looking at him. Potential cash play. Super high floor for what you're looking at for a matchup. Cole Calhoun, love the lefty righty there. He's been hitting really well of late. Turning this Angels offense around with Trout there. So you got to like that. I mean, looking in that, I'm not really touching Cruz tonight. He's kind of, I'd rather just dip in between him with Cano and Seager. I like that matchup better for them. But obviously, the 3-4-5 there is strong. So I'm totally okay with that. If you throw all 3 of those in there. Pirates, I'm not really touching them. Marte, McCutchen. Polanco, I do like 3,400. That's solid, but I don't necessarily like the stack tonight. So I would throw Polanco in there with sort of the tier 2 guys. Might sneak into tier 1, but he's solid at his price. Again, with Desmond, I like Mazzara. Ichiro, been killing it for a 57-year-old man. He's batting 330 this year, and I just don't see it slowing down. He's just making great contact, just like Ichiro does. So 3K, like that as a cheap way to get Marlin stack in there. Matt Holliday, love that. Giancarlo Stanton, you just swipe right by. If this were Tinder, you would not be accepting that. You just say no, like the DARE program taught you. Drugs, alcohol, Giancarlo Stanton. Don't do it, kids. and hopefully kids above 18 years old, of course. Yes. Um, Rajai Davis, obvious punt for Cleveland, and that sort of contrarian stack. If you're looking at that, Cameron Maben 2,900 for a guy batting over 400 on the year. So I mean, if you want to do that, be super contrarian to go Tigers tonight, but I don't mind it. They've been pretty solid this year, if not inconsistent. But I'm okay with Maben as a one-off for sure. Franklin Gutierrez 2,700. He's been super consistent. Gets Kobe Lewis tonight. I'm in on that. And then you kind of go lower. Not much out there. We love Kiki, but he's back up from $220, back up to 2,200 tonight. So probably not touching him. That's pretty much the overall review of this slate. Not too difficult. I think you pay up for Jose in at least 80% of your lineups, even tournaments. But if you do want to make a few leverage plays and make a few contrarian non-Jose lineups, throw some in there. Verlander's priced pretty solidly on this site, so that'd be something I'm looking at there, and maybe get some high end options on there. Well, this was the FanDuel Punch Out. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you win some money tonight. And thanks for listening. Check it out. Check out Daily Fantasy Cafe for all our awesome tools and content.